A few months ago, I made the decision to move to Australia with no plans, no friends, and not much money. To say I was nervous is an understatement. But I've committed and there's no turning back now.
I'm leaving to Australia today and I am so terrified. I haven't eaten all day.
All right, I got all my stuff. Giant backpack. Said goodbye to Grandma.
And this is come back.
I'll come back. I'll come back. I promise. My sister's gonna take me. This is crazy. Why am I doing this? Oh my god. What if I hate everyone? Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing this. Why am I doing this? This feels so surreal. Okay, bye.
And just like that, I was off. After many hugs and only a few tears, I was on my own. Sitting for hours in the airport and airplane was torture, not just because I spent 18 hours sitting on the plane, but because I was constantly questioning my decision to move to Australia and why I was even doing this in the first place. Over and over, I couldn't stop thinking, what the heck are you doing? Why the heck did you decide to do this? I didn't sleep for nearly 2 days as I was traveling, and I had nervously picked off all of my freshly done nails. I don't think regret was the right word, but I was definitely questioning if leaving everything familiar behind to start a new life on the opposite side of the world was the right choice for me. Well, regardless of it being the right choice, it's happening. I landed in Melbourne and it was hot, 104 degrees when I stepped off the plane.
I'm so lost. I've been looking for my driver for the past hour.
After I found the driver, I got picked up and taken to the hostel where I'll be staying for the next couple weeks.
I've never felt so relieved to not be around anyone and have a bed. Ow. This is my new home for the next few days. But I made it. I'm in Melbourne. Yay!
So the only actual thing I planned during my time here was a week-long Melbourne tour with a company called Welcome to Travel. The tour officially starts in a few days from this hostel, so I have some time to settle in before it begins. The tour company specializes in making their tour for young people who are planning on staying in Australia long-term. They basically group a bunch of backpackers together for a week, explore the coolest parts of the city, and help you get everything set up for your long-term stay in Australia. And actually, I reached out to Welcome to Travel and we worked out a way to collaborate. So they gave me a promo code that gives you $50 off of their Welcome to Melbourne tour, which is the exact tour that I'll be doing this week. If you're interested, I'll leave it in the description. After a good night's sleep, I decided to walk around and explore the city. Melbourne is definitely a beautiful city, rich with a melting pot of cultures and beautiful art and architecture, but I wasn't quite sure what to do with myself. I got lost because I didn't have Wi-Fi or phone service and didn't think I had a debit card I could use internationally, and it was honestly all a bit overwhelming.
I've never backpacked before or stayed in a hostel or traveled like this ever, and so there's a lot of things that are just really new to me. I'm feeling a little bit lost, to be honest, directionally and internally. Why did I choose to come to Australia? I knew I was going to feel uncomfortable, and this is the uncomfortable part because I just feel very, I don't know if alone is the right word because there's a lot of people around me, but nobody knows me, you know what I mean? Did I make a stupid decision? Why am I doing this? 6 months? That's such a long time to be here. And I love this coffee. I'm excited for the tour to start. I wish the tour was like today because I'm kind of tired of just figuring things out on my own, and I want someone to tell me what to do.
Over the next couple days, as I was waiting for the tour to begin, I loosened up a little and started meeting some more people. More travelers from the tour started arriving, and it was easy to make friends, especially with people in my hostel room. I stopped stressing so much and actually started enjoying myself more.
I'm starting to feel a bit more adjusted, meeting more people. Everyone's super nice and friendly.
On Sunday, we got a group of people together and went to a free festival in St. Kilda Beach. It was a ton of fun, but I think all the stress, heat, and lack of sleep started getting to me, and I ended up feeling a bit under the weather. I think it came down with some sort of cold or something. Finally, the day came to start the tour, and it was great to meet the group of people I'll be spending the next week with. Because this tour is made for travelers on the working holiday visa, nearly everyone in the group was planning on staying in Australia long term. So they talked to us about setting up our Australian bank accounts and getting SIM cards for our phones, which really relieved a lot of stress that was causing me. Right now, everyone is going on a little walking tour of the city, and I decided to just kind of like lay low a little bit. So I'm not feeling 100% and I want to make sure that I have energy for the whole rest of the week. After my much needed nap, I joined everyone for dinner and a few drinks before bed. On day 2, I was feeling so much better, health-wise and also just more optimistic in general. We went to Queen Vic Market, which is the largest open-air market in the Southern Hemisphere, and I kid you not, I had the best coffee I have ever had in my entire life. Coffee in Melbourne is no joke. It had me wired and jittery for the whole rest of the day. We went out for lunch, got gelato, and had a presentation about Aboriginal culture, which was really cool. My favorite part of the day was walking down Hosier Lane and seeing all the incredible street art there. I learned that you have to get a permit to do street art in any of these buildings, and it's entirely legal. This was one of my favorite days. I finally felt like I was making real friends and starting to enjoy the city. Before dinner, we grabbed a drink at a really cool grungy bar, and ended the day with some dumplings and playing some games at one of my favorite bars I've been to here. So today we packed up all of our stuff and we're heading to Phillip Island for an overnight trip. And we're just packing one day bag and we're gonna spend the night there, and it's gonna be really fun. We're going wine tasting and seeing penguins and kangaroos and koalas, and I'm really excited. We started the day at the beach where we played some games, went in the ocean, and also saw a giant sea lion. We went to a beautiful national park and also wine tasting. Some people got drinks for later at a drive-through bottle-o, which is the Australian equivalent of any alcohol store. But never have I ever seen a drive-through shop where you can buy alcohol, only in Australia. It was so nice to be out of the city and see some nature, but the road trip there reminded me of how far I really was from home. Staring out the window and seeing nothing that looked familiar, surrounded by faces that I had met all less than a week ago, made me really miss home for the first time since I had been here. But there was one magical moment where I was staring out at the acres of grass, feeling a little lost, confused, and alone, when suddenly, wallabies came out from nowhere and started bouncing around in the giant grassy field. It felt like it was out of a movie. Everyone was freaking out and taking pictures and videos, and I just sat there, witnessing the moment as tears were brought to my eyes. While it didn't make me miss home any less, it made me really stop and appreciate the opportunity I was given here, surrounded by such amazing nature and beautiful people. It was a moment I'll never forget. After that, we saw the world's smallest and also the only blue penguins in the world during what they call the Penguin Parade, and it was incredible. We spent a night at a hostel on Phillip Island because in the morning we had a surf lesson bright and early. Today is Thursday and it's our big surfing day, so it's almost 8 a.m. right now. We all got up, we packed our things, we're checking out of our hostel and headed straight for our surf lesson. This was my favorite couple hours of the entire week. Even though the waves weren't great, I had the best time and will absolutely be surfing much more during my time here. We just went surfing. How did you do?
Got it 3 times.
Then we went to an animal park where I got to live my true Australian dream. There are kangaroos running around everywhere, and we literally got to feed and pet them. This, on top of the surf lesson in the morning, felt surreal. This day was absolutely amazing. It also made me realize that as much as I like Melbourne, I'm much more of a beach and nature gal, and I'm really looking forward to traveling to more of the beachy cities after this. After our bus ride back, we checked back into the same hostel and spent the next day in a couple meetings about how to find work while in Australia and how to plan the rest of our travels. They were very informative, but I still felt a bit lost about what I wanted to do next. But I pushed that all away as we had a beautiful beach day later in the afternoon. The water was gorgeous, but geez, the sun was so hot. The next day we had one-on-ones with the Welcome to Travel staff, who basically help you plan your entire travel itinerary. Since I had no idea what I wanted to do, I sat with someone for 2 hours as she went over all the things that I wanted to fit in my schedule and helped me fit it within my budget. My next 2 months of travel up the east coast of Australia are set, booked, and paid for. I feel so much better now that it's settled and I don't have to worry about it anymore. The rest of the day I walked around with some friends and there happened to be a huge Greek festival going on. And to end our last night, we did a bar crawl with other travelers and community members in Melbourne. They gave us free shots at some bars, and it was such a fun night. The nightlife in Melbourne is nothing like back at home. Australians really know how to party.
3, 2, 1,
The last day we had one last family barbecue with everyone and said our goodbyes to those who were leaving. I ended up booking a trip down the Great Ocean Road with a lot of the same people from this tour group, so I'll be seeing them a little while longer. The barbecue was bittersweet as we all reflected on the past week and how we all came in as strangers, ended up as friends, and will soon be going our separate ways. And as a last hurrah, our tour guide convinced us to try the classic Australian delicacy.
Does anyone want to try Vegemite?
So unsure. Oh, that does look.
Oh! Oh!
You like this?
Oh,
you're crazy.
It's not that disgusting.
It gets worse. Feedback?
So it's only the end of my first week here. While being away from home hasn't necessarily gotten easier, I at least now have friends, a plan, and a bit more confidence taking on this crazy adventure. Honestly, it feels pretty empowering to be able to do this as a female solo traveler. Of course I'm still nervous, but this time it's the good nervous. I'm excited to see what's next. If you want to be a part of this journey with me, then don't forget to subscribe. And if you're curious about why I decided to move to Australia, then check out this video here. Thanks for watching.